Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to this fireside chat with Maruti Suzuki Leadership on innovation and role of startups in the Indian mobility sector. Before we start with the session and I introduce the speakers, some context around the problem that we are here to solve. By 2050, India will be home to over 870 million urban dwellers, which would account for more than 50% of the population. So let that just sink in that 50% of India will be residing in cities. Uh, India will also add about 2x of China addition to the urban population. So China will add about 200 million odd. India will add about 400 million odd people to this urban list. New Delhi will become the largest megacity in the world by 2028. The projected size of people, about 37 million inhabitants. That's about half of any mid-sized European country population. Pollution, congestion will become more serious issues if this growth is not planned well and is not technology enabled, right? This is something that we at NASSCOM continue to foresee. The current situation is alarming, but future can be changed with rework business models and implementing technologies which aid urban mobility, with the overall aim to become a more sustainable and safe country from a mobility perspective. In the past, NASSCOM has suggested a 5-pronged action plan to drive sustainable, seamless, safe mobility in India. One is to focus on comprehensive urban planning. Second is to drive shared mobility adoption. Third is to push for clean mobility. Fourth is to create and implement integrated mobility systems that talk to each other. And the last, but not the least, is support for new technology and innovation in mobility. This last point is where we are here to explore with our partner today, Maruti Suzuki. They are market leaders in the Indian automotive industry by a long distance. And they're also a rare automotive company in the sense that they not only lead in sales, but also in customer satisfaction. On top of that, it is heartening to note that the largest auto OEM also is taking the lead towards mobility innovation in the country. To talk more on this, we have today 3 esteemed leaders from Maruti Suzuki and their network. First up is Noritaka Wakuda-san. He is a strategist and a marketer. He's been working as an advisor in Maruti Suzuki India Limited for the past 6 years, and he has been in Suzuki for over 16 years. He's the man whose vision and hard work has resulted in the creation of Maruti Suzuki's premium retail channel Nexa. He believes that the future lies in innovation and moving from 0 to 1. His zeal of doing things differently and efficiently led to conceptualization and launch of the first corporate accelerator by an automotive company in India, MAIL. An avid golfer, a yoga practitioner, he swears by Indian delicacy Kadi Chawal. And his message to the team and startups is work hard, party harder, and always aim to innovate. Following Wakuda-san is Ram Suresh Akela. Akela-san is Executive Vice President of Sales and Network at Arena at Maruti Suzuki. He is a mechanical engineer from Andhra University and an MBA graduate from FMS Delhi. He has been with Maruti for over 28 years in various business leadership roles. The third person who will be joining us from Maruti is representing Maruti is Vikram Upadhyay. He is Chief Mentor and Accelerator Evangelist at GMV Accelerator, one of the pioneers in the Indian venture market space, who envisioned the problem and opportunity areas in 2007 at a time when innovation and startups were not talked about, were not understood in India. He empowered early stage ventures and entrepreneurs since 2007, and his effort resulted in producing one of the first unicorns in India, Dhruva. He is a master's in computer science from University of Tokyo and is one of the most renowned angel investors in India. These 3 leaders will be joining us in this insightful discussion, and the way we have structured it is that we will have an opening comments followed by a presentation and related questions posed to that. We will reserve the last 15 minutes of this session for audience questions. All of you are requested to type your questions in the chat window below, and we will come to that after we have done with the session themed questions that we already have. Without much further ado, let's get into the chat. I think question number 1, I would like to frame it to Wakuda-san. Wakuda-san, you have been in India for more than 6 years. do share with us some of your experiences of working in India. How is it very different? How is it different from Japan? What were the key learnings that you got here? What were the fun things that you did in your 6 years, 7 years over here? Wakuda-san, over to you.
Yeah, so Archita-san, thank you for the introduction. I'm Noritaka Wakuda, and I'm excited to be here. I hope everybody is also excited because we want to discuss about mobility, which Marty is envisaging. But to your question, how my life has been in India is, I think it has been fantastic because there's so much of opportunities. We get to work with a lot of young people. So coming from Japan, I think the people around me have become much more younger, about a decade. And it's much more exciting to be with younger people. Not that Japan is bad, and I hope nobody from Suzuki is on this bridge. But coming back to how the work is, I think a lot of opportunities there. Like you mentioned, my first project is Nexa. So actually, Nexa was to create a new brand to retain our existing customers. So I just give you a quick story about how that went because not many people probably know. So it actually started when I landed in India. So when I landed in 2014, and next day I went to work, my boss said, hi, thank you for coming to India. And we need to create a channel and you need to do it. So I said, boss, I don't know how to create a channel. Obviously I was only selling cars in Japan and I don't know how to create it. So then he said, why don't you read some books? And by the way, we need to present to everybody in Marty in the next month. So I said, okay, I'll read some books, then try to create some strategy and planning and try to present. So one week I was reading books on how to design brands, how to create channels, all that. And after 1 week, I realized that reading books don't help. So, and there was 3 weeks to go. So then I said, okay, I don't know how to do this, but anyway, when you don't know, it's better to go meet customers. So I was in a showroom after that, just seeing and observing how our customers are there. And you start to realize some trends and patterns, and you start to see the pain points of customers and what they want. So after 2 weeks of that, then I started to realize what the customers want. Some of the customers wanted more privacy, more premium experience. They wanted to have coffee served on the table, etc. And that's where we started creating the strategy and the plan. And in 1 month, we had the plan. So we presented it to our senior management. There was about 50, 60 people in that room. I was presenting 1 hour. Then it was all silent. And at the end of it, I said, should we go ahead? This is good plan, let us do. So then everybody was silent with a word on the forehead saying that probably not required. And then the most senior person said that, okay, maybe not required. We'll think about it. So then everybody left and I was there with my boss, which is actually the director now. So I said, okay, boss, what should we do? Everybody's saying not required. So he was thinking, then he said something I couldn't hear. So I thought he said that, okay, why don't you read some more books? Which might have also not help. But what he actually said is, let's just do it. So I said, okay, we'll do it, but we have no team or budget, or I don't have any team or budget. So he said, just do it. So that is how it started. And there's another big story around how we executed. But the learning is, actually, India allows us to just do it. So if you have an idea and if you believe in it, and if you have good strategy, we can execute it. And that is how Maruti has been working the last at least 6, 7 years. You must have seen a lot of transformation from Arena to True Value to digital solutions. It is because the philosophy is to just do it. And that is giving us result. And that's why I think the experience has been fantastic and there's a lot of learnings. And we will be seeing much more exciting solutions in the future. So back to you, Archita-san. That is my experience.
Thank you, Akuda-san. I think this was a very nice story. Given the volumes that India has, personalization is not something that many brands take into account. I mean, they do personalize themselves when they go into less populated regions and countries. It's great to know that you actually, jumped on to personalization as a key differentiator and got, Nexa to where it is today. So thank you for this story. Lovely hearing this. And I think the opening comments are all about to give a little bit of flavor and background about the background of the speakers to the audience. So I think that's where we are coming from. So my next question is to Akela San on business leadership strategies by Maruti. So Akela San, Maruti has been a leader for so many years, and it continues to run ahead. Would you share some tips on how this was achieved? How have you actually led this year over year? So love to hear a story about that, Akela San.
Thank you, Achyuta-san. Good evening, Achyuta-san, Vikram, Vakada-san, and all the participants. And thank you very much for having me on this chat today. Now, that's quite a loaded question, Achyuta-san, about leadership strategies and that too of Maruti Suzuki. I'm sure you'll agree with me that these have evolved over a few decades, and at various levels, different verticals, and of course, it has several layers to it. So it's very difficult to give a straight answer to that, but I'll just try and attempt sharing a few thoughts that I have on this, especially relating to the marketing and sales part of it. So just to recall, and a quick recall, Maruti Suzuki was founded on the premise of providing affordable mobility to the Indian customers. And even today, all our actions and strategies are generally formulated keeping the customer at the center. I know it sounds rather cliched, but this is one of the core strategies. And as you saw, Vakda-san also was mentioning how we go back to our customers and listen to them, hear to them, and understand what we should be doing. And in fact, I've been witness to it over the last 28 years with this company. Now, this, as Vakda-san mentioned, it requires a connect with the customers to understand their needs, aspirations, and of course, a lot of changes which are happening in terms of the preferences and so on, so that we get the right mix of products and services which actually suit the requirement. So this journey has been a long one, and along this journey, we've been able to create a wide range of products. In fact, in the process, it helped us to create new product segments with launches of models like, say, the Swift or the Desire, which created a new space, or the Brezza, or the Baleno, or the Ertiga. Creating new specific customer markets, and also some new technologies which we could pioneer, like the two-pedal technology, affordable one with the auto gear shift, or the smart hybrid technology, and for example, the CNG, alternate fuels. So we have 8 models with a factory-fitted CNG, and we're probably the largest again in that. So over a period of time, I think that has helped in terms of the product portfolio. And we believe in this mantra of customers for life. So, we're engaged with the customers through the entire car ownership life cycle, whether it is, of course, the car itself, but more importantly, the finance or the insurance or the extended warranty, after sales service, spare parts, accessories, and also through our True Value channel when he wants to upgrade and exchange his vehicle. So we've been constantly working on another important, pillar is, of course, the network. And, I think it's known that we have the largest vast network in the country with almost more than 3,000 sales points in the country. That's been a huge advantage, Maruti, to keep our leadership in the market. And despite having this large physical network, if you see over the last few years, we've been observing this rapid adoption of, say, the digital and the social medium amongst customers. So here also we took the leadership and established a robust digital network through our hyperlocal program. And we have almost 1,000 plus digital and online dealerships in the network already today. So, so these are some. But when I'm talking about network, I must also share with you that one very important value that we hold very dear at Maruti is about building and nurturing partnerships. So whether it be our dealers or our vendors, component suppliers or other business associates, we believe in actually developing long-standing and mutually beneficial kind of strong partnerships, and that has held us in a very good position through our journey. So I'm sure all of us have witnessed to this, changes, rapidly changing environment and the aspirations of the new India. And Vakuda-san explained his experience with creating this new channel for such customers through the Nexa. In fact, we further went ahead and we upgraded our the Maruti Suzuki channel also to an arena format to provide a new age experience and also a seamless integration between this online and offline journey for the customers. So, we've been constantly looking at newer technologies, advanced technologies, and incorporating them into our operations. So, like something like the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, and things like that, which we're talking about. So, for areas like predictive modeling or prioritization, and all such activities, and these kind of empower us to manage this wide portfolio of almost 17 models, 150 odd variants, and 750 plus kind of combinations of model variant color across 3,000 sales points, 3,000 plus kind of sales points in this widespread network. So all these and many more, I'm sure, have helped us to maintain this leadership and also leadership in the mind of customers with, of course, a market share on the ground of more than 50 plus kind of percent. So that's yeah.
Great, Akilas, and I think this was very informative, and I think we can dedicate one whole fireside chat on this question itself, right? You've taken care of the total cost of ownership from a customer side, from your manufacturing side. You have very good control over your supply chain, and I think that has kind of contributed to the leadership piece. I think that's there. I'll quickly move on to Vikram San. I think Vikram San is on here. Hi, Vikram San. Vikram San, you have been a titan in the investment world in India. Any trends that you would like to hear or you would like to share to the audience in corporate participation with startups, specifically to the mobility space? I think you're running this accelerator and it's doing some great work. So happy to hear some introductory comments from you, Vikram San. Over to you.
Thank you, Achyuta-san. Hi, everyone. This is Vikram Upadhyay. I think it's a very interesting time now. We have entered in 2021. As we say 2021, if you pronounce that and write it, it is you are winning 2020. So with the start of this year and the experience we all had last year due to COVID, I think the mobility is going to take the center stage when it comes about innovation. And in the beginning, Achyuta-san, the numbers you have shared about the mobility, the urban density going to increase multifold, going to double in fact. I think mobility is going to be the main area to be looked upon, not by the OEMs only, I think by the whole ecosystem. And we cannot factor out the innovators in this big need which is arising from 2021 onwards. Corporates, coming to the corporate side of it, with a little background about myself, we'd love to share a very brief story about myself and how I ended up with this accelerator and partnering with Maruti Suzuki with GHV. I lived in Japan for long, and while working for Japanese companies, large corporates, way back in 2000 till 2011, I realized these corporates were working and looking at India just for outsourcing for IT work, or looking India as a kind of a price, low cost manpower in India. It's a quite old story I'm sharing. Things have changed now. What I realized and experienced, and that happened when I invested for the first time in a startup, which definitely became a success story as Dhruva, that many Japanese companies were not able to collaborate with these startups at the early stage. Definitely, we were hearing about the stories of large corporates engaging with big corporates in India. And that triggered at my end towards 2010 that how about if we can build something on the lines of industry co-creation, which was a crazy terminology for the Indians in those days. And I decided to build something around that and move back to India. And while I was running GHV Accelerator Seed Fund, we decided to launch industry co-creation program. And for us, from my childhood time, Maruti Suzuki was a kind of a benchmark when I looked at Japan. A market leader, not about the auto sector, but the leader from Japan who transformed India big time. So I got a chance to connect with Wakuda-san over a coffee. And we thought, let's discuss about industry co-creation. And as we say, when you get a chance and if you're lucky enough, that was the day when I realized that I'm lucky, and Bakuda-san resonated my thoughts and I resonated his thoughts. And the rest is history, and today is Mail, a great program. Coming to your point on the corporates' engagement towards the innovation, I think today we are sitting in 2021. Most of the corporates in the boardrooms, at the management level and at the Gemba level, we call it Japan, that's the managers level, everyone is talking about digital transformation today. It was a tough journey for us as GHV to convince people, to make them feel and understand. But today we can proudly say that with the support and the vision, Bakuda-san and Maruti Suzuki has shown a belief in GHV, we are able to establish Mail as the true flagship in terms of the industry co-creation. Today, corporates are looking for major areas when it comes about innovation engagement. First is the innovation around the product, services, or they are looking for the technology collaboration with these startups, technology transfer with these startups, or licensing with these startups. Also, they are looking for business collaboration and alliances with these startups. Cross-border collaborations of the corporates with the Indian startups is going to be a big buzzword for India and from India. Capital is going to be the byproduct in terms of this collaboration. And that's how the corporates are engaging and will continue engaging. Disruption will happen only through the large test beds these corporates are carrying with them, where the startups, if they are able to demonstrate, where there are many examples now coming in the market, they are able to demonstrate the large disruptions by collaborating with the corporates. And proudly, I can say Maruti Suzuki, through this Mail program, have wonderful examples now, which not us as partners, two of us are thinking along with NASSCOM, but I think the world is putting us as a benchmark now to look at this kind of a disruptive model that's called industry co-creation. And this is going to be the game changer. That's my personal view on the corporate collaboration with the innovations. Thank you.
Right. I think that was very comprehensive, Vikram San. Thank you for your insights. And we at NASSCOM, we do an annual startup report. This year we are launching it next week. And we've seen 2020 to be a little bit tough year, but I think we see a big remount happening in 2021, and we are hopeful to see even more. In fact, this was a very unique year. I mean, where funding and everything was down, India saw 12 unicorns. It's never seen so many ever. And the pipeline remains even bigger. So next year we'll probably cross this number. So we look forward to the industry coming back in shape. My next questions are centered around a couple of presentations. So to Wakuda-san, the next question is around how would you like to capture Maruti's innovation journey so far, and it includes your startup initiatives and the Mail program. So please, Wakuda-san, over to you.
Yeah, so I think we have a short presentation. So we want to take you through Maruki's innovation journey. Actually, we didn't, this started with a cup of coffee as usual, like Vikram-san was saying. But our intention is not actually to do innovation. We want to bring more value to the customer. So we have been working with startups from 4 years, 5 years ago to create value for our customers. One of our partners was AGO, which was a startup. They have scaled and they have exited also. So that founder is now a mentor of a mail program. Like that, we have always collaborated because we wanted to bring more value to customers more fast. So it's never about innovation, it was about value to customer. But having said that, how Maruti started, I think we are the original innovator because as Tristan was saying, the belief was we wanted to democratize mobility. We wanted to make it more affordable. So back in 1984, we started producing Maruti 800. You must know this story also. And at that moment, there was only two cars in the market. There was Ambassador and there's a Fiat. The market size was about 30,000 annual sales. At that moment, our chairman, he was quite audacious. So he decided that, okay, I want to democratize. I want to make it more affordable. I'm gonna put up a factory, which is 1 lakh capacity. So everybody thought that he was quite stupid because that is 3 years of capacity, but we were committed. So our journey started from there. Then it has all been about democratizing value and experience. So actually in 2001, we launched True Value. We wanted to make pre-owned car buying much more transparent and easy. Actually, Suresh-san was there building this channel back then. Then as I explained, we were the first ones to build CNG from a factory. And a lot of cars now have CNG. This is a clean fuel. Then we went to democratize two-pedal, which is much more easier through our auto gear shift in 2014. We reduced the cost gap from an MT to two-pedal by half of this technology. Same year, we introduced smart hybrid. Now all of our cars above 4 meters, they only have hybrid because we believe in clean tech. We want to make our mobility much more sustainable also. And we just discussed about Nexa in 2015. So this was all about democratizing premium experience. Why does the experience, the premium experience, be only for a few selected people? Everybody should get that experience. And we built it. And from 2019, we are also working on innovation. So this is current Marty's journey. And can you go next? Yes, in our innovation, let's talk about innovation at Marty. So we have 3 programs. Left one, it's about incubation. So we are incubating startups from idea stage with IIM Bangalore. The second one, we have Maruti Suzuki MIL, which is Mobility and Automobile Innovation Lab. This is our corporate accelerator, and it's powered by GHV Accelerator, which Vikramson is there. And the third one, actually, this is the newest, so our logo is not in place yet, but this is our CVC, Corporate Venture Capital. So we are now funding startups. So these are the 3 programs under our innovation. Can we go next? So I'll just take you quickly through each of the programs. The first one, the MIL program, we are running 2 cohorts a year. In one cohort, we have about 4 to 6 startups, and the acceleration period is 3 months. So that is the structure. And the benefit that the startups get is we have domestic and international mentors. And in the end, if you are a winner, so there are 3 startups who are the winners at the end. They get to do a paid POC with Marty, which means we fund the POC. These 3 startups, they win Marty cars, and we take them to Japan to pitch to Japanese corporate there. And they also have a chance to access our partner ecosystem. So the progress so far is we have completed 3 cohorts. We have engaged with 14 startups, and there are 9 winners, and we have done 10 POCs. And out of the 10 POCs, already 2 of the startups have become our business partners, which means their solution, our customers are already using. Can we go next? So I think the thought process behind Mail is, like we said, we didn't think about doing innovation. We wanted to build, bring more value to our customers in a much more agile and fast way. And collaborating with startups actually enables us to do, and it's a win-win. So we feel that this is a good platform. And also, it's in line with the government's vision of building more startups in our ecosystem. So let's go next. And these are the focus areas. So there's so much, and they are on the website. So the same website, www.marutisuzukimail.com. So if you're interested, please go there, because a lot of the areas you'll see problem statements are also there. But some of the new areas that we are focusing on, because we're already into the third year, are the ones like sound analysis. We want to use AI, ML, and sound now. Or road safety is another area. This is one pillar in our CSR. So we want to make our roads more safer. There's a lot of initiative there. We want to bring technology there. And the last one, which is actually slightly cut, is on digital solutions. So we have launched our digital transformation organization. So through that, we are now pushing a lot of digitalization in the company. So we are looking at a lot of areas there also. Next, please. And the program structure is like this. So first 2 months, it's about the application, then we do the screening. The people who, the startups who get screened and invited, they come to the pitch day. In the pitch day, we select about 4 to 6 startups. And after selection is finished, then we go to acceleration phase. So there's mentors. We bring our own people from Maruti Suzuki to give input and do the solutioning also. So this is more of a co-creation. So Maruti Suzuki is there bringing problem statement and working on the solution with the startups. After doing that, then at the end, there is a demo day. So at the demo day, our MD is there, our board members are there, and the startups would pitch there, and we'll decide on the top 3 winners. The top 3 winners, the benefit you've already seen. Let's go next. So benefit we have already seen, but I think I just want to mention one thing, which is not here. Actually, our program is quite unique. So in mobility automobile, there's a lot of accelerators now. But what is, I think, the difference and what makes us very successful is we have almost every vertical involved in this program, from very senior to actually the ground people also. So when we go to solution, actually the executive director will also be there for giving input and reviewing. Our divisional head department is also there doing solutioning. So obviously you get market validation, you get so much input. And I think that structure brings so much of value to the startups, and the solution becomes very good at the end. Can we go next? So this is the journey so far. So we launched in 2019, January. First 2 cohort, or until third one beginning, we were doing physical acceleration. So you see the pitch day and the demo day. Then from demo day 3, because of the COVID, we have gone totally digital, but we didn't stop because we just believed in that just do it spirit. So we kept on doing our accelerator also. So we done our demo day 3, pitch day 4 is also finished. So actually the 4th cohort is ongoing now, and demo day is planned for this month. So next, please. So this is some glimpse of the past cohort. So you see our startups, that is Rezo AI on the top left, doing at the pitch day. Middle top, that is Zane AI, also pitching against us. Then we see some demo day photos with our MD left bottom, and some startups have visited Japan, so that is right bottom. Next, please. And this is the ecosystem Maruti Suzuki. So we are the biggest automotive company in India, but our parent is Suzuki in Japan. So we have a strong tie there. So when we go to Japan, we are pitching in Suzuki. Also, we are pitching in a VC office there. And we have a partner ecosystem in India also. So you see, in 10,000 Startups is a big partner to us. Next. So we'll just talk about Mail Japan trip, because I think this is another unique experience that we provide, and it actually ends up in value. So we take the startups. So last year we took about 6 startups. They were pitching at our head office to our directors. They were also pitching to Japanese corporate in a venture capital office. Also, we have taken them to JETRO, which is Japan External Trade Organization. So they support startups in entering Japan market. So they are explaining that you can get free office and support for documentation, etc. So I think this is a very good trip that we're providing. Next, please. And some photos of the trip. So like left bottom, you see our startups pitching to Japanese corporate and government at the VC office. And the center is obviously our head office, Suzuki head office in Japan. Next, please. And I'll just quickly take you through the incubation. Actually, the first cohort has already started, so application is not there. But we are working with IIM Bangalore to incubate startups from idea stage, especially in the mobility areas. In areas that Maruti maybe have difficulties entering also. It might be like smart parking, multimodal, smart city, all that. Next, please. So how it works is, again, there's application phase, we go for shortlisting. Then there's a 3 months of pre-incubation, which is the launch pad. We prepare the startups for incubation. And there is also mentoring there. Incubation is a longer period because we're working more from idea stage. It takes 6 months. Then similarly, we'll do a demo day. And in the end, the winners will get to do a paid POC and win a car. And hopefully we go to Japan also. Next, please. So these are the benefit paid POC Maruti Suzuki car. And they get access to our test bed and our data and our people, which give insight. Next, please. So lastly, this is our CVC, Corporate Venture Capital. It's called Maruti Suzuki Innovation Fund. So we have just launched this last year and we have started funding startups who have graduated from our MIL program and our incubation program, and which have successfully completed our the POC. So we are actually now in incubation, we are doing acceleration, and we are doing funding also. Next, please. So we are covering all the stages, and on the right, there's one I think called Mobility Challenge. We are trying to conceptualize this also to collaborate with more mature stage startups also. So I think this is the journey of Maruti Suzuki's innovation. It's been quite good, and we are looking for more collaboration with startups, and looking forward to co-creating. So thank you. Back to you, Achuta-san.
Thank you, Vakuda-san. I think it was very informative, and to the audience, only 10 days left to apply to the cohort. So please get started if you're interested. My next question is to Akela-san. Akela-san, would you just quickly brief us about some new sales initiatives that Maruti Suzuki has undertaken in the recent past? Thank you.
Sure, Achyuta-san. So let me first set the context. So if you examine the car purchase behavior of customers, today 9 out of 10 are basically digitally influenced, and 92% of new car buyers are doing their online research before making a purchase. In fact, 90% of the customers who are visiting dealerships have already shortlisted 2 or 3 models before they actually come to the dealerships. Now, more than 42% by some study says that 42% of buyers consider the web as the most important source of information regarding car purchase. So going by these, as well as our own experience in Maruti Suzuki, we have seen, we embarked on this journey on the digital space about 2-3 years back. And in the last couple of years, we've seen kind of 3-fold increase in our digital leads year on year. And last year, the digital leads contributed to about 12% of our total sales inquiries. And this year, post-COVID, it has actually jumped up to almost 35% of the total inquiries being the digital leads. So I'm sure it is clear and evident that the business landscape in the automobile sector has witnessed a paradigm shift in this last decade. Basically, with increasing application of digital tools, as well as the propensity of consumers to opt for digital solutions. So further, when we examine the customer's car buying journey, we found that there are about 26 touch points on an average in the process of buying a car. Now, out of these, we had already kind of 21 such touch points have already been made digital. While areas like test drive or vehicle delivery will remain to be physical activities, we identified finance as one major touch point that we thought we should work on. So currently, if you see, the customers can gather information on products, compare cars, search for a dealer, get a quote, make a booking online, and so on and so forth. When it comes to car buying, but the moment we talk about a car loan, this online journey had to be broken. So and more importantly, 80% of customers actually buy cars with a loan, and so this is an extremely important touch point, which we felt we had to integrate it seamlessly in our digital journey. Can we go to the next slide, please? So this is the first initiative I'd like to talk about, which is the launch of the Maruti Suzuki Smart Finance Platform. Now, this happens to be India's first online end-to-end real-time car finance service, which gives the customer an option to compare and choose a loan offering from multiple financiers. You can compare and then choose a loan offering. It offers significant advantages to customers in terms of, say, a wider choice of financiers, improved transparency, higher flexibility in loan options, and a smooth and efficient process online. So with this, our customers can now actually continue with their online buying journey seamlessly, including availing a car loan on the digital space. Next. So for this, we have actually integrated our platform with the systems of the banks and the NBFC partners that we work with, and so that we can provide a real-time solution for car financing. So far, we have integrated our platform with about 10 financiers, banks and NBFCs, and we are in the process of integrating with a few others. Now, we started this pilot as a pilot launch in the month of May 2020 during the COVID lockdown kind of a situation. And currently, it's available across the Nexa channel across about 30 cities right now. And in a few months, I'm sure we'll be able to extend it pan-India and cover all the channels, the Arena, Nexa, and Commercial. Next. So another area which I'd like to share and discuss today is about the evolving space that we are seeing in the automobile industry, about smart mobility and the related services that people are talking about. So integrating even systems talking to each other in terms of infrastructure as well as mobility. And the opportunities which are evolving. There are multiple areas like shared mobility, smart parking, smart cities, and so on. Now, shared mobility out of these has definitely seen some traction over the last few years. And apart from the traditional taxi rentals, which was always there, these include some solutions which have come in, like the ride hailing, the aggregators, self-drive car rentals which have come in recently, and then carpooling and so on. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah, so as per a Indian Consumers Insight study, about 17% consumers seem to prefer renting across several categories now, and this is expected to further increase to about 24%. So this emerging trend is primarily driven because of the shift in customer mindset towards affordability, which is how much is the value spent by the customer, and the flexibility, which is regarding the willingness or his eagerness to switch products or change in city, and we're seeing a lot of that. So in terms of the commitment for a longer term versus renting it out. So with this trend, we're noticing basically there are four major mobility options that we've already seen. One is, of course, the classical taxi rental service. The second one, which again has seen rapid growth, has been the ride hailing, which is the point-to-point trip in the cities. and now also across cities. The third one is about the self-drive rental, in which a car is taken on rent and you drive it yourself for a few hours to a few days. And the fourth one is about the subscription, where a car is taken on a long-term rental for personal usage, say a tenure, something between 6 months to about 48 months. Next. So in this direction, our first step in the mobility, shared mobility space has been offering the Maruti Suzuki Subscribe, which we launched as a pilot in July 2020. See, broadly, there are three primary customer segments in addition to the traditional car buyers. One is the convenience seekers. These customers, they don't want the hassles of maintaining the car, the insurance renewals, claiming, disposing the car, and so on. In fact, they are willing to pay a price but avoid hassles of maintaining the vehicle during the ownership, or they look for the flexibility of changing cars every few years. So that's one category, which is the convenience seekers. There's another set which we can classify as, say, prime consumers, where they have a car, they probably need another one, especially in the family, for a family member. But they probably need it for a shorter tenure, maybe say 1 or 2 years, and hence don't want to outright purchase the vehicle, but have one for a shorter period. And there is a third category, which is the aspiring millennials, who probably starting the career, don't want the longer term financial burden of owning a car or taking a loan for 3 or 4 years. And hence they're willing to share their car back when the car is idle. So that's another category of customers that we can very clearly see. Next. So what do we mean by this subscription or Maruti Suzuki Subscribe? It's basically a use and return program for the vehicle for a tenure ranging from 12 months to 48 months, where a customer pays a monthly fee covering the vehicle insurance and maintenance, everything all inclusive. The subscription basically helps in catering to this new customer segments who prefer this renting over ownerships. So broadly, the features are that unlike a car purchase, in a subscription it doesn't require a down payment. There are no hassles of maintenance or insurance coverage, because all that is included in the monthly fees, and also frees the customer from the responsibility of resale, and hence gives the flexibility of switching cars and switching cities, based on his lifestyle. So Maruti Suzuki Subscribe basically is another way of having a car without actually buying one. So we started this in association with our partners Oryx and Miles. We currently rolling it out in 8 cities: Delhi NCR, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai, and Mumbai, and we're in the process of expanding further. And the subscription is broadly available in 2 forms and 2 shapes. One is a white plate subscription, which is closer to a leasing kind of an arrangement, where the vehicle is in a private registration on a white plate, and this vehicle is available for subscription to retail customers starting from tenure of 24 months to 48 months. And there's another one, which is the black plate subscription, which is basically the vehicle is registered in the name of the partner, the leasing company, in a black plate. It's a commercial registration, and there the tenure starts from as low as 12 months currently. So we are offering, as I said, in 8 cities currently with 10 models. We have in the Arena channel, we have the Wagoner, the Swift, the Desire, Vitara, Brezza, and the Ertiga. And in the Nexa channel, we are offering the Ignis, the Baleno, S-Cross, Ciaz, and XL6. So it's relatively a new concept, and I'm sure this will also start seeing some traction going forward. So I just thought I'll share these 2 initiatives today. Thank you, Achita. Back to you.
Thank you, Akela-san. I think this was very informative, and I am of the opinion that the subscription model, the leasing model, will actually be a big chunk of industry operating model going forward, so long the costs are actually more manageable, because this is globally accepted. In India, I think we are slightly behind other regions, but I'm sure this will actually, beef up a lot of the mobility intake going forward. Moving on from this, my next question is to Vikram San. I think Vikram San, Vakuda San explained the innovation journey of Maruti and Mail, and then Akila San explained some of the new technologies and sales initiatives that Maruti has undertaken. Could you share some light on Maruti's engagement with startups, specifically share some key startup success stories? I think these will be good experiences that the audience can actually imbibe and feel what they can gain out of this program. So, Vikram San, over to you.
Thank you, Achita-san. Will request, yes, thank you. So as most of the part is being covered by Vakuda-san about the engagement steps and the journey, definitely we completed 2 years, and this is the 3rd year of this program of Maruti Suzuki Mail program. We do have wonderful success stories from this program. Now, the success stories, they have gone through very stringent processes, as explained earlier by us in this chat. Who are those? How they have done it? I'd like to take you through the next few slides. Next slide, please. A quick glimpse of what we have done in the last 2 years. So 3 cohorts are completed by us in this program. 4th one is in the process, and very soon we'll be completing the 4th cohort also. The startups engaged were 14 out of 3 cohorts in the last 2 years. And the 9 of them were the winners. And that's the format of the program. The winners does not mean those who were not able to make it, were not capable, or they were not competent enough to work with Maruti. Why I'm highlighting this? Because there are few great success stories out of those who were not even the winners of the program, but they performed at par and at some point of time much better than the winners. No comparisons here, but just to highlight that the startups who have been participating, getting a chance to be a part of the program, they followed gradual growth with a consistency in their delivery, commitment of what Vakuda-san mentioned earlier, solving the problems for the customers of Maruti Suzuki in the most effective and efficient manner through this program. 10 proof of concepts have been executed, and 2 of them out of these 14 have been onboarded as the business partners to Maruti Suzuki. Now, it sounds very simple word, business partner, for some. I like to highlight here the importance of a business partner, and this, one of the founders made me realize that, and it was resonated by many of them later on in the cohort 2 and 3. To become a business partner, it was a dream come true for that founder. It is very difficult to become a business partner to Maruti Suzuki in such a short time. Keeping in mind that the market leadership Maruti is having, they have a very stringent processes, very strict protocols to be followed. Expectations are very high. Everyone has to meet the expectation. To become a business partner in just 6 months, kind of acceleration program, is something commendable job, and hats off to the efforts put in by the entrepreneurs through these cohorts. So these are the numbers in terms of the progress of the program so far. We are committed to engage more. Cohort 5, we are inviting applications, which is till 15th of January this year. Coming on the next slide, I'd like to explain, these are the startups cohort wise they have graduated. Senskiz, Zane, Identify, Nmovil, Docketron in the cohort 1. Cohort 2, Dave, which is in the AI, Rezo again in the AI. Different problems they are solving. They are not competing to each other in this program. They are complementing, in fact, to each other in this program. Why I'm highlighting? Because at times many startups raise a question that they think that they have to compete with each other for one problem. Dave and Rezo are being in AI, but they're solving different problems different way. Fabric, Electrify were all of them in the cohort 2 program. Cohort 3, Clean Slate, Peer Robotics, Vikara, Hyper Reality, and Urja. All of these startups are at an early stage from a VC fund perspective. And all of them have done a commendable job. The kind of process they adhered with Maruti Suzuki were very fast. The common factor among all of them were they were agile in way of executing their projects in a proof of concept being given to be demonstrated by them in the demo day. That was the common factor among all of them. And they did a fantastic job. In the next slide, I'd like to explain about what startups have achieved. The startups, they have achieved immense in terms of the experience. That's the first thing. In terms of specifics, what some of the startups have achieved and more will, I can proudly say, though they were not the winners in the cohort, but the kind of confidence the founders have, the experience they've gotten in this program, even after the program, their determination to prove and solve the problems, along with the opportunity given by Maruti Suzuki team, they are doing a commendable job by solving problems which are addressing the problems of the customers of Maruti Suzuki. As an outcome, not only just a car or a kind of a chance to interact with the Japanese ecosystem, they were onboarded as a business partner out of this program. And they have, last but not the least, they have got and bagged multi-crore business contract from Maruti Suzuki. And the way they have been demonstrating, this will grow multiple times for them, the kind of effort the founders are putting in. So it is all about the effort, the focus you maintain with the corporate, and that's what Enmobile achieved and will keep achieving it. Dave AI, they, other than the other program benefits, they were able to raise pre-series A round in July during the lockdown. And Zain, they had got the opportunity to speak about the startups work at Auto Expo just before the lockdown. Now, these are some of the startups achievements I can highlight here, but what came out a much bigger achievement for all those who participated in this program, which was validated last year. None of them struggled to survive. Rather, they were growing steadily and gradually in their business while working with Maruti Suzuki and other clients in their respective fields. So the kind of the skill sets they are accelerated with, the go-to-market strategy, to how to remain frugal, those were the biggest takeaway these startups were able to gain through this program. And last year, that was the validation of their survival, and they were able to sustain themselves and grow also during that time. So that's the biggest achievement of these startups through this program. And we are looking forward, those who are going to participate, they'll come with a long-term horizon in this program, not for a short term. Another point I like to highlight in terms of the achievement, which is generally overlooked through a corporate accelerator program. And that's a uniqueness to add on, and explicitly I can say the mail program Maruti has created, the uniqueness. As a VC, I have been experiencing the startups generally raise money just to build a business development team and get a chance to interact with a large corporate like Maruti. Through this program, it's not only interacting, they get in the shortest time to demonstrate their solutions, what they can build, what they have built, and they can deploy along with Maruti Suzuki. They are saving their time, not going out in the market scouting for VCs to invest in them and go for business development. They directly jump into the business development by deploying the product on the problems given by Maruti. So that's the biggest advantage the startups get. Definitely, they save a lot of equity part of it while they're in this program. So look at Enmovil example. They remain focused on the business side of it. The co-creation were the main focus for them. And today, if they have got multi-crore business, they are the one who have achieved something without even going for Series A or B, a VC round. So that's a very big advantage MAIL program brings to those startups who are able to go through the complete process of acceleration and the outcome. Definitely, it's not a short-term kind of a result which comes out in just few months. Next slide, please. Now, instead of me talking a lot, these are the messages by the founders directly from the horse's mouth, how they feel about it. Definitely, I'm not going to read about it. They are some of the founders, how the program transformed them, how it gave them a benefit, the perception of building a venture completely changed in their mind after and during the program. And with the time, we'll see that how they are becoming the market leader also. That's my confidence about how they have been demonstrating through this program. With this note, I'd like to stop here and request Achyuta-san to take it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vikram-san. I think there's a short video, Ravneek, that you want to play. Would you like to play that? There's no video.
I think there's some bandwidth problem or something. Okay.
It's opportunity handed down to you in a platter. We don't have to spend time looking and searching for the right contact in these humongous companies. That contact has actually come directly to us. This is a golden opportunity every startup would crave for.
Giving access to startups to be able to work with corporates and getting a paid pilot, this itself is a huge opportunity for any startup. I think it will be a game changer for sure.
The benefits that are offered from this program are a huge motivation for all the entrepreneurs who have innovative solutions out there. And you never know, at the end of the day, industry and the startups might create a disruptive technology going forward.
I think MAIL is a classy program. The overall journey, the overall mapping that they have done is very, every step has been carved beautifully. We as entrepreneurs of startups, we know how to deal with a large enterprise like Maruti. So I think the kind of feedback we've been getting on this journey and, being catered at the right time is like an awesome thing.
The logistics team from Maruti comes, sits with us, spends a lot of time explaining the situation and the problem they are facing, and asks us to solve the problem is a blessing for a startup like us.
We got deeper insights about how the industry thinks and what kind of solution they are looking for.
The way they worked with us was a big wow factor in this program.
Early startups who have like a product ready and are doing some awesome innovation, they wanted to onboard those guys as early as possible to be able to cater to the needs of, for example, Maruti and their ecosystem.
don't let go of this opportunity. This is an amazing program.
You can get nurtured yourself and take your company to the next level.
One of the most important aspect for the mail program is to come with a blank sheet and then essentially co-create along with the industry.
If your product is ready and you think your innovation is, the next level of innovation, you look forward to be deploying the solution to Maruti, I think you should just go ahead, apply for this program, and then be assured that you are in the right hands and you will reach your destination being a part of mail program.
Wow, I think this was a very, very solid endorsement. I mean, I think organizations are very happy, startups are very happy working with you. The way you've structured the program, the output at the end of it, the gains that they get, I think this is a very solid endorsement, and I hope a lot of companies, a lot of startups apply to the 5th cohort also. Thank you, Ravneek, for playing that. I think I'll move on to some more questions, some follow-up questions after this, and then we'll move to the audience pieces. And I think some of the follow-up questions are addressing some of the audience questions also. So my next question is to Vikram San to Vakuda-san on impact of digital transformation initiatives at Maruti. I think this is something that you touched upon, and I think Akela-san also touched upon it, that, digital transformation, and it's an ongoing journey, right? I mean, it's not something that you say that it's ended. It's something that will continue for a long period, but we're already seeing some impact of the digital transformation initiatives. One thing that I think Akela-san also mentioned, that, the customers are, mostly coming in from the digital side. I'm sure the customer acquisition cost is also significantly lower. So that also is a big plus over there from a digital perspective. So could you share a little bit of light, Vakuda-san, on what all in digital transformation are we doing at Maruti?
Sure. So I'll briefly talk about our digital transformation initiatives. So actually the DX is buzzing. So everybody's talking. But how we see it at Maruti Suzuki is, again, it starts with customer. So we have started from customer side and we are digitalizing. What does that mean actually? We are providing what customers want. So what is the experience that the customer want? It's like this. If it's a car sales, customers might want to find car information in a very easy way, navigate through to find everything, including finance. If it's finance, they want easy finance. Why should there be so much of documentation or hidden charges or all that? Then they want the delivery next day. So it's becoming like an e-commerce because their expectation is being built by e-commerce, by Flipkart or by these food chains and all that, because the experience is delivered like that, and they think that automotive should also be like that. So we know what the customers want. It's now how to deliver. That's why, like Sri-san was showing, we have digitalized our finance because that's why customers wanted, easy finance, much more quicker. Why have we done subscription, which is totally a digital platform-based selling, is because customers want also easy. If I subscribe, the car should be coming in next day or within a week. That is the kind of expectation. We need to deliver. So we have started from customer side, now going back, because when you start from customer side, we need to fulfill, like we are discussing. Fulfillment also has to go digital. And production has to go digital. Then maybe our back office, HR, finance to support all has to go digital also. See, so we are on a road to digitalize the whole company, and we are looking for all kinds of solutions there. And I think there's so much of opportunity that we can collaborate. And just talking about digital, one more learning, because now we're driving the digital transformation. I think to drive digital, it's half of the job is like sales. So when I talk like this, people will be saying, no, you're supposed to do digital, why sales? It's because we need to go do internal sales. It's like a startup. Because most of the people will be like, okay, DX is like just buzzing. I don't know, I don't need it. So from that stage, we need to go pitch. We need to do hacks. We need to do workshops. We need to do sponsored POC from our side. And gradually, we need to educate and penetrate. And then there will be people who believe in digital. And then the organization becomes much more digital. So I think this is a path. And I think good learnings from that. And I'm now back to the sales role, which was in Japan selling car, because now I'm selling digital solution in Maruti. So that is a kind of experience again. And it's quite good, and looking forward to collaborate. So back to you, Achyuta-san.
Thank you. Very informative, Vakuda-san. And the good part is that as even Vikram-san's slide also shows, mobility is not only about everything related to like, this AR, robotics, tech, right? Everything typically comes in. So it's something which is open for a lot of segments, and a lot of startups can actually apply. The next question is to Akela-san. Akela-san, post-COVID, how do you see the automotive industry shaping up, and how do you see customers consuming cars? I know you talked about the subscription model, but I think last year we had a little bit of bump for 2 or 3 months. Things start looking better now. But is this pent-up demand, or is this something which is what you see is currently a long-term prognosis, the growth that has come back? Over to you, Akela-san.
Yeah, thank you, Achyuta-san. In fact, I guess there was also a question on the chat regarding post-COVID, the shared mobility and the personal ownership, and so I'll try and cover these two. Well, I think what a year we had. COVID, unprecedented, and we heard these terms in English, but I think for the first time ever we could actually understand what it really means. Unprecedented, complete lockdown. For the first time ever, we saw the industry having zero sales in a complete whole month of April. And what a way to begin the year. No less than a thriller that we had, in the automobile industry in this year, in the year 2020. So, and in those days with the lockdown, all of a sudden, all of us started working from home, a lot of digital, adoption. Even in our personal lives, my children started attending to classes online and things like that. In this process, we also had a lot of webinars and other things going on in the industry. We were kind of here listening to various experts on that. And there were several theories which were making the rounds that how post this COVID, the market will recover, the automobile industry. There were several stories about V-shaped recovery, U-shaped recovery, Nike swoosh kind of a recovery, even something like a K, which means that some sectors will go up and some will probably continue to go low. Some said bathtub, it will remain like this for some time. And my favorite of all of them was the O-shaped recovery, which means nobody actually knows, and I kind of subscribe to that. But nevertheless, after all this and this last 9 months, I must tell you that the passenger vehicle, the cars industry, on a serious note, we've seen a good, smart V-shaped recovery. We've seen, sequential growth in volumes in our own. Like I said, we started with the zero, for a full month for the industry and for Maruti, and in the first quarter, we barely sold about kind of 65,000 cars in the whole quarter of the first quarter. And then the quarter two sequentially, it increased to about 365,000 or so. And what a recovery we've seen in quarter three. We've seen a wonderful festive season, the October, the Dashera, Diwali, and the December. And the traction has been quite good. And we had some record sales in the quarter three, kind of the highest ever quarter three for us, at least, and for the industry. So we saw volumes in excess of about 4.5 lakh units in quarter three, which is, like I said, a record in itself for a quarter. And the retails were even better. So the network stocks have gone down. There's hardly any stocks. So that's broadly what has been, in the last 6 to 8 months post this COVID lockdown. And obviously, there are some trends which are very clearly visible and emerging. And I'd like to spend a little time on that. One is about for obvious reasons, I think customers are prioritizing health and safety over everything else. So very clearly, there is a preference for personal mobility over the shared mobility or the public transport that we can see, and some pent-up demand initially and so on. So that's one probably one reason why I think the recovery has been pretty kind of quick. So and this is also reflective in the fact that when we see the kind of customers who are coming in and what's the sales that is happening, the first-time car buyers, very clearly that contribution has increased and increased by almost 5% to the total sales, which is a big increase, right? So very clearly, those who do not have an option currently, for a personal mobility, I think they are trying to go in for one, which is the first-time car buyers. The other one is about additional car buyers. There's one car in the house, but like for example, a colleague of mine, his daughter travels 40-50 kilometers in a day to go to office or something. Earlier she would probably take a Delhi metro, but now he doesn't want the family members to actually use public transport. So probably for a year or two, he wants to, till things kind of stabilize, wants to have another car. So similarly at home, for the kids or for the wife and for the family, for the parents, you need, there is a need that's being felt for an additional car. So that again has seen an increase by about 3% contribution to total sales. What has seen a dip is the replacement car buyers, which means that those who are existing owners of vehicles seem to be holding on to their cars for a little longer. So very clearly the first-time car buyers and things like that are driving the recovery. Now, in the process, and because of this little aversion to use public transport till things stabilize, I think the shared mobility and the public transport has actually taken a bit of a hit. Our fleet sales, which used to contribute about 7 or 8% to our total sales, has gone down substantially, about 75% drop. We're down to less than about 2% of our sales. But I guess this is something which is probably reversible once things stabilize, once things come back. I think the flexibility or the kind of convenience which it offers, I think it will gradually come back. But at the moment, yes, the shared mobility and the public transport are a little low. We've also seen that little bit of telescoping of demand, because what people want to have that mobility, but personal kind of a car, but then within the budget. So we're seeing a larger traction for the entry level, the hatchback cars, the smaller cars. Of course, the SUVs for other reasons, including new model introductions and all. To some extent, the SUVs are growing, but there's a good kind of traction for the hatch kind of cars. Another big thing, and which all of us have been discussing through this entire this session, and what Wakida-san was saying, is about the adoption of digital. And not just about car buying. I think we've seen it in our everyday lives. There's a huge adoption and digital transformation which is happening in the lives of people all around all of us. And I think this is something which is there to stay. While I just mentioned last year, digital leads for car sales contributed 12% of our total inquiries, and post-COVID it went up to 35%. But I think this is something which I don't see will go back again to normal. It's something which is not so reversible. I think it's there to stay is one thing. And of course, between the rural and the urban markets, in fact, those areas which were least affected by COVID were the ones which started coming back quickly. So the rural markets, also because of a good monsoon and a record kind of a crop, and the rural economy being pretty good over the last few years. So we've seen a good traction and recovery coming back in the rural markets. So these are broadly some of the trends which I thought I should share.
Thank you, Akela-san. Very comprehensive. Thank you. Next question is to Vikram-san. Vikram-san, if you were to give 5 tips to the startups who are looking to work with corporates, what would they be? I mean, all the people are actually waiting to hear that. So over to you.
Okay, I'll try my best because there are many things. I'll try to restrict only with 5. So first thing is with a background, how I started this thinking about the acceleration program, and then working with Maruti on this mail. The objective, the vision with which I started as a VC, I'm trying to reply from the different hat as a VC, which I am. Want to see how Dhruva was created as a unicorn in 13 years. What if we can create some great unicorns like Dhruva in just a couple of years, not taking 13 years to go for it? Just to validate my thoughts through this program, Uniqueness, as a VC, when we evaluate startups or startups going to a venture capitalist, they ask TAM, LTV, and CAC. Three terminologies very commonly asked by the investors. And the founders get disappointed because the investors say, this you have to achieve, come back once you achieve as per expectation. Now, looking at the size of the organization, Maruti Suzuki, and the program, TAM is definitely achievable for the startup if they become a business partner. TAM, those who don't know in this attendees category in the audience, TAM is the total addressable market. Maruti Suzuki is the market leader in this segment. So achieving TAM for that startup won't be impossible if they achieve a business partnership level through this program, which some of them have achieved, many more are going to achieve. And that's the path, a journey towards becoming a future unicorn in not in a decade, but maybe in a shorter time. Second, this is more on a lighter note because we have been talking very seriously on this subject for the last 1.5 hours in an academic way. I want to create a parallel in this conversation of the mail program and a very famous known program from Japan, which has been gamified, called Takeshi's Castle. Mm-hmm. Quite popular in India.
Yeah.
It's a game show where there's a discipline required by the participants. There are processes, steps, the way mail has, we have hurdles. Every hurdle has to be cleared with a discipline. While clearing the hurdles, they have to connect with the team, whether it's Maruti or their own team members or the ecosystem enablers as depicted in one of the slides by Vakuda-san. The founders have to not only win the game by passing on each stages, they have to remain positive, even they are losing it, because there's another chance at times they get. I think a self-discipline with the agile method, agility is very key for this program. Last but not the least, this program is with the vision, I look at it, creating some great unicorns out of it. Once they are in the program, they should focus only on the milestones set, whether they win or lose. They should keep achieving it. They should give their best shot in that. They should not try to sell their product because they've created over a period of time and they want to achieve it. I think the key is solving the problem of the Maruti Suzuki customers or for Maruti Suzuki processes, products, or business models. These are the major key suggestions I like to give as an investor, because if I have to invest in any startup, I want to see the LTV they are achieving, long-term value with the customer. Because here in this program, the customer acquisition cost is zero for these startups. And they are coming and working with the customer. It's a B2B model kind of thing. And they can achieve amazing TAM if they are able to become a business partners. So with these 3-4 points, I think founders who are looking at this program, they should look for not a short term, it should be a long-term engagement with a self-discipline. And it's a very cohesiveness we create when we engage with these startups. And every investor will like to see when their portfolios are working with these startups, with the corporates, they should have a long-term engagement with the corporate, because that's how a VC look at their returns secured when they invest in these startups. So that's from my side, Achyuta-san.
points in your playbook as you move forward. My last question before I move into the audience round is to Vakuda-san, and this is on, I think culture eats strategy for breakfast. We have heard that a number of times, right? I think from that perspective, how important is the cultural transformation required for an innovation mindset? I think, Vakuda-san, if you could touch upon that, and then, close with what startups can expect from MAIL 2021. We have covered that in some of the previous, questions, but, just a closing thought about MAIL. Over to you, Vakuda-san.
I think that is a very good question, because changing culture, it takes a lot of effort, because like say Maruti, established through the 37 years. So we have a fantastic and good culture, but to be future ready, if you want to be like using more digital, then as we discussed, we need to slightly shift our culture also. Like people always keep on talking that it's fail fast, but it's very still difficult to think about failure in Maruti. So I think we need to give opportunity, like we said. It's the just do it culture. Please try and do it. So that is kind of the culture we are building actually through this co-creation, because once startups are there, actually our people also know that the culture is different. There's different ways of working, different ways of solutioning. So it's great that this program is there. It's actually changing the culture in Maruti gradually, I think. So that is, I think, part on the culture side. I think what can be expected from MAIL is, well, I think we are here to co-create and co-work with the ecosystem. So back to the customer story, I think we are here to support, listen to startups. What they want, we want to also provide, because we want to grow together. So I think that is what we keep on doing in 2021. So back to you.
Thank you, Vakuda-san. Quickly, in the interest of time, I'll move on to some of the audience questions, if all of you are okay. I think there are a couple of questions around, how is MAIL going to encourage rural innovations and also upskilling local talent? I think this is interesting, and maybe Akela-san or Vakuda-san, you want to take a crack at this? Or maybe Vikram-san? So how is MAIL going to encourage rural innovations and also upskill local talent?
You want to take this, or okay? So I think MAIL program, how we structured it is we have all the problem statement from our verticals. Obviously, there's a problem statement in the rural area also, because the demand, for example, is scattered. So why startups are still not there so much, and maybe NGOs are there, because it's quite difficult to commercialize some of the solutions. So there are problem statements, like how do we provide more easy, more sustainable mobility in rural? So these kind of problem statements are there. So we are actually working with NGOs also, but we want to have work with startups also, maybe to create solutions. So if you have an idea, please apply. We can see if you actually fit those problem statements that we have pertaining to rural area also.
Thanks. A couple of more questions around MAIL. I think one is, does the program only support startups with only POC completed? I think there was a discussion that in the discussion it was mentioned that POCs get completed and then there are business opportunities that come in after that. So I think that is kind of addressed. Can we get access to Maruti's machinery infrastructure by creating solutions? I think that's also something that you do offer, right, to all the startups when they're creating solutions.
So it depends on the requirement, because like production, there's already a POC going also. One startup had a solution. They are already in the factory using a lot of infra that we have there. So obviously to execute the POC, if it's required, our line of business, they'll be there to support, even if it's production or otherwise.
Okay, great. I think there's one elephant in the room. There was somebody who asked that question, EV roadmap in India. 5 years, 10 years, when is Maruti going to start that? I think, any thoughts on that?
So this is a, I think, fantastic question. Please tell us what we should do also. Anyway, I don't think this is a forum to talk about our future product roadmap, but I think we're a customer-centric company. So if the requirement is there, obviously we'll be studying.
Great. And also there's one more question on, how shared mobility, right now it's probably not very popular because of people's concerns about, health and all. But is this a long-term shift or is this a short-term shift? Do you see shared mobility coming back strongly? And if that being the case, how do you plan to look at the market differently?
Yeah, so I think, Achutasan, I tried to cover that in my previous intervention. But what I'm saying is that, yes, at the moment, after the COVID and the lockdown and all that, there are two things. One is the movement of people itself physically has kind of reduced to a great extent. There's still a lot of people working from home, avoiding discretionary travel, kind of restricting it to essential travel, and also, like I said, health and safety, I think, is on top of the mind in terms of priority for people at large, and hence there's some aversion or kind of not using the public transport kind of a situation that we're currently seeing, and hence obviously there's some impact which is very clear in terms of the shared mobility as well. Now, shared mobility, as I said, has a different kind of plays. One is, of course, the traditional, the taxi rental, the ride hailing, the aggregators, and the point to point. So these have definitely taken a little bit of a kind of a beating there. So the numbers are low. The fleets, in the available fleet also would have actually shrunk to some extent. We also know that some of them were kind of because the utilization was very low. When it comes to subscription and self-drive car rentals, I think it's pretty much similar at this moment of time, because people are not really very keen on sharing their cars, carpooling, or for that matter of fact, using this self-drive car rental, which is even the tourism and other things are down. But as I mentioned, I think it's the current situation, which I'm sure is temporary. Of course, I don't know what is the time frame. I really wouldn't even hazard a guess on that. But once the vaccination or various other developments which are happening, once the things stabilize, I think the intrinsically shared mobility provides a certain amount of flexibility and convenience, and particularly for some use and some applications there. I'm sure it should come back. Now, how long it would take and when exactly things will stabilize, I'm not so sure. So we'll have to closely watch that.
Right. A couple of more questions, on the MAIL program. Is smart mobility for cities an interesting question, area for MAIL, because B2G, is that a target segment for you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Sachin, you've got your answer. There's another question from somebody who says little mature startup. I don't know what it means, but do you have a revenue cap or size of a startup that you work with? So somebody who has some demonstrated revenues already, are you willing to work with them, or are you only looking at smaller guys to work with?
Actually, we are open to work with mature startups also. There is no cap. It depends on the requirement. If it's fitting with our problem statement, we're ready to collaborate.
Okay, cool. So I think we've answered most of the questions, and if there are any more questions, I think if they come to us, we can probably direct them to you. We are over the time limit, so I'm just trying to say whether we would like to end this. It's great. I loved talking to all of you, Vakuda-san, Akela-san, Vikram-san. Very insightful discussion. I learned a lot. It was an honor sharing the panel with titans such as you. On behalf of NASSCOM Insights, and 10,000 Startups, I would like to thank Maruti Suzuki for the opportunity to host this. To our audience, thank you for your excellent questions. Please apply to MAIL Cohort 5, and may the best guys win. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stay safe, all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye.